because today, as a congregation, in person, we're going to say farewell to Dorothy, who has been our probationer for these last 15 months. I'm going to invite Dorothy just to come forward, and I'm going to say a few words, make a presentation, and then Dorothy will say a few words. It was the 1st of October. So I should have a red folder. This is your life. It was the 1st of October. It was the 1st of October 2019 that this young woman, Dorothy Wallace, joined our congregation as probationary minister. And you remember those early days. She came as a shy, quiet, reserved, retiring soul. And look how she has blossomed. You know I'm teasing. For Dorothy, it has been a probation like no other. When she's compared notes with her fellows, they're all saying, "Oh, he's your supervisor." No, it's been a probation like no other. Our first few months together, we did a lot of visiting together. After a week or two, I knew she could be trusted to be let loose on her own. I still remember, so Tuesday was our supervision, our day when we met. And we still keep to that, even although it's on Zoom. So Tuesday morning, maybe week 2, week 3, whatever, I gave Dorothy a list of folks. Let's say there was a dozen names to visit. That evening, my phone rang. I'm not going to say who it was, but it was one of our elderly saints. She wanted to let me know that Dorothy had called. She wanted to let me know that they had a great time together. The word she used was lovely. And she wanted to thank me. I had not that much to do with it. She wanted to thank me for sending Dorothy to her. That was day 1, first visit on her own. And so that was lovely, that person picked up the phone and wanted to share that. I remember I shared that with Dorothy at the time. I'm sure we're all thankful for the church sending Dorothy to spend these 15 months with us. Of course, the last 9 months no one could have foresaw that again Dorothy excelled. Her regular phone calls to some of our elderly and not so elderly have been so valued, as has her warm, engaging personality, her friendliness, her pastoral skills, her willingness to suggest things and try things, her skill with Zoom, her technological knowledge. It's been such an asset. Dorothy, to everything you have adapted so well, and you have shown great commitment, great dedication, and great initiative. But now, sadly, we have to let you go. I remember, before Dorothy came, sharing with Christy and Alistair and Helen at the start of this process that this was going to be my first probationer, possibly my last. But for Dorothy, for the probationer coming, and we didn't really know Dorothy at this time, go back 16 months. For Dorothy, we, Kilbarcon Parish Church, were that last leaden post in her journey towards ordination. It was to be a significant stage. And that if, we didn't know it back then, if it worked out well, then Dorothy would be launched out into the world of ordained ministry, and we will have played a part in her formation, and in a sense, she will always be our Dorothy. Dorothy, I'm going to make a presentation to you, and I have to say the congregation have been extremely generous. But that is only a reflection of the way that you have fitted in, that you have worked with us, that you have shared with us so openly and so generously with your time, your energy, your commitment, your initiative. We wish you and Alec, who's here, where's Alec? Alec, we wish you, Dorothy, and Alec, and Lizzie, and Ali well, and we can't wait, we'll have to, but we can't wait to hear what the Lord has in store next for you. I'm just going to finish with a paraphrase of a portion near the end of Frank Baum's classic novel, The Wizard of Oz. Dorothy now took Toto, and I put in brackets, aka Alec, Lizzie, and Ali, up solemnly in her arms, and having said one last goodbye to her friends, she clapped the heels of her shoes together 3 times, saying, "Take me home to the moon." No, it didn't say that in the Frank Baum version. Her version says, "Take me home to the moon." Instantly, she was whirling through the air so swiftly that all she could see or feel was the wind whistling past her ears. Dorothy, our prayer is this: may you know the blessing of the wind, the Ruach, the Spirit of God, be with you in everything you do. Please accept this presentation from the whole congregation.
Thank you very much indeed. That is wonderful, absolutely lovely. I can't thank you enough. Can everybody see it? No, it's the church. It's the picture of the church, and I'm just so delighted with it. I can't wait to put it up, but I'll have to wait till tomorrow when we go back to noon. Stephen, if you thought that if you cried last week when you were this morning when you were watching Andrew Marr, I hope you're not back and shaking your side. I can't thank you enough. I can't thank you enough for letting me come in here and take away your minister for such a lot of time. I am not criticising other supervisors in any way. Everybody has their own style. But I've been really blessed. Stephen has been so generous with his time. Not just our Tuesdays, not just in the early days whenever we did a lot of things together, as he said, you're learning, and one of the best ways is to watch by example. You don't need me to tell you what a great pastoral minister he is. He's a fantastic pastoral support to so many, and I learned a lot from that respect. But he's also really, really generous, and you'll remember from the very start almost in allowing me to share his pulpit. Because sometimes ministers can be quite, precious about the pulpit. The pulpit called to ministry they wanted to preach. And every second week I would be allowed, after the first month or so, I was allowed to share that pulpit, and that has gone on throughout the time when we've been doing things online and what have you. And I have therefore, I've had much more time preaching than I might have done had I gone elsewhere. This is the 4th time I've had to say, actually the 5th time I've had to say cheerio to a congregation, because I'm including my own home congregation in that. You say cheerio to them because you get into ministry away all the time. 3 placements, and now this one. And despite the fact that more than half of it has not been face to face, some of you, I've maybe only shared half a dozen words with, but most of you I have developed, despite that, real close friends and bonds. And I thank you all, because you have all been part of my learning. Not just Stephen, not just Highland Theological College, not just the training team at 121, every single one of you here, and those of you who are not here today but who normally would be. Alec and I came here 2.5 years ago, and we sat almost where John's sitting at the moment. It was a crowded church. There was a christening. I don't know who it was that was getting christened, I'm afraid. And it was absolutely chock-a-block, and I knew from the beginning that this was going to be the right church. Because Stephen came in and spoke about giving away last year's King's Easter. And I thought, there we go, we could probably go on. We're both supporters of teams that play blue and white. And you'll notice if you come up the bottom half of the village that they're very, very kind to Stephen and I in this village, I've noticed, because all the decorations, despite this being St Mirren land, are all blue and white. But that aside, that day we came in and there was, I'll not say who it was, the lady's not here, but she was so friendly, so welcoming, took us through to the church hall afterwards. I've never known a church where so many of the congregation, such a large proportion, go back for tea and coffee. I believe firmly that in order to bring people in, to bring people not necessarily into church, but to bring people to Christ, is what we do as much as what we say, probably more so, how we are with people. And one of the first things we do in that is be friendly and welcoming. And if I can give a 10 from Len in Strictly Come Dancing terms, this church has that in abundance. Friendly, welcome. Because we went through to the hall afterwards, and Stephen was talking earlier about trying to be anonymous. When you're a student minister, you have to kind of play a cat and mouse game. You're not allowed to let anybody know when you're looking for probation. It's all a big mystery. And again, it's really difficult when people say to you, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a student minister. And Stephen thought, when we got to speak to him that day, and he said, what do you do for a living? Oh, I'm a student minister. And he thought to himself, oh, maybe we'll have to part with her for 10 hours a week, because she's maybe just going to ask to cover me for a placement. Little did he know he'd have me for 40 hours and for 15 months. But thank you all, not just for your generosity today, but for the time and generosity. I can't begin to thank the session clerks, the musicians, the two of them here, all the ones that have helped so much with the online stuff. I've learned so much about how to do the technology from. I only look good, by the way, because other people need to really learn a wee bit more. I'm not that good, but I've learned so much from Alan, just saying, I don't know how to do this. From Alison, I don't know how to do this, and I've learned so much from all of you. I'm sorry you'll not be able to come. I don't know where I'm going to be ordained. I don't think it'll be late enough for you all to come, but I'm hoping that at some point, whenever I am eventually ordained, that we will be able to have some sort of get together, and all my church families will all come together in one church family. So from the bottom of my heart, and I know it's for Alec as well, who's probably up there bubbling, so please don't look behind because he'll be so annoyed when this point out. But thank you very much indeed. And I thank you